We're live.
Okay.
Hi, welcome to the David Cabell and Christopher Skinner podcast. Do you use your full names?
We've already
do
got
now.
to blank it out. We've already got to cancel like half of this. Cancel culture, engage.
We do now.
What's the name of your podcast?
We just call it the show.
Oh,
Show.
welcome to the show.
Yeah.
I'm Duane. You've never met me before, but these guys...
You're Duane what, though, since you just told everybody our names?
I ain't telling them.
This is Duane Wilhelm Skinner.
That's okay. I'll blank it out in post.
Wilhelm.
Because there is no post. That's one of the things
There's
we
no
don't
post?
we don't do.
So if I screw it up, I screw it up in front of everybody.
Yeah,
You
it's
done
just-
did it
Yeah.
I mean, chocolate in my teeth.
Thanks for that.
with any luck.
God. What have you done?
Good.
Your poor dentist.
Hey, so this is David and Chris Skinner,
Hey, this
apparently, and Duane Herman. And
no, Duane Herman.
and,
It's French.
and I'm sorry for not having
Listen,
an abrupt. Well, it's turned into an abrupt, but not an abrupt entry like we usually do into these things, just burning into the atmosphere red hot.
That's because Scotty Harrington, also who's sitting off camera,
You're causing me so much work right now.
decided-
Will you stop, please?
he decided just to hit
This is gonna be
record
awful.
because he wanted to screw with us.
I
And
guess
so
it doesn't
now,
matter. Make the
now
checks
we're-
out, too.
we're
SKINNER, okay?
I'm down.
Is
Whatever.
that a blue check?
I don't need checks.
Do you have a blue check?
Oh
No,
my
I don't have
goodness.
checks at all.
No checks. Got
What's
it.
a blue check?
Blue on Twitter? Whenever you're famous enough
Yeah.
that you need to be a verified, because otherwise you do like that Nancy Pelosi
What do you
account
mean by
this week
verified?
that they know it's actually you.
Oh, okay. So a verified public figure kind of thing.
but
Yeah,
that's
right.
like so.
I think
who
I've
are
heard
you?
of that.
Like what? If you're not,
Isn't that the question we're all trying to
you're
answer?
not- if you're not famous enough though, like you're not allowed to get a blue check for your own. So like, if I went out and there's like a more famous like person with the same name as me,
So
I'm
here's the
certain there is.
here's the problem with that question.
I don't think so. I think we're all
Is you're
set.
asking somebody who knows nothing other than I have a Twitter account.
no,
I think.
no, full stop. Asking somebody who knows nothing, full stop.
Yeah. No, so I thought about this. Whenever we talked about doing this thing, I was like, well, what in the world would I bring to the table? Because at the end of the day, I know a lot about nothing, but a little bit about everything.
No,
And so we're sort of there.
It's debatable.
It's the little about everything part is a little debatable. I'll give
oh
you that.
goodness gracious.
I'll go as far as you know a little.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, welcome.
But-
Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us today.
But I'm no
super
exception
cool.
to that either.
As usual, I've got literally nothing to talk about today. There's lots of things we can go after.
Well, what's going on in your life right now?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
No, we actually just we just came back from a cool trip to Gettysburg over the
Ooh.
weekend, which is pretty amazing. For what it's worth, I think it's one of the places that everybody, not even just Americans, but there was a lot of folks there from other countries and stuff.
Yeah.
All walks of life. The coolest thing about it though was it was literally freezing. Like it was like 20 degrees. The wind was blowing. The first day, the wind was like ripping through. I remembered I stepped outside and I
Too many
walked.
beans.
I walked around the back of the car to try to walk to the North Carolina Monument because it's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the wind just hitting me full force, took my breath away. I stopped and I hid behind the truck again, and then I walked around back behind the other, and it just hit me full force. But the interesting part is what's neat about going in the winter. It doesn't really give you a full sense of what it was like when the soldiers were actually there because they were there in July. But you can see everything.
But wasn't the Delaware frozen when they crossed?
Wrong war.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. So they oh gosh.
That was the Sino Russo War or something like that. I think
War of 1812.
the 7-year War of 1812.
That was the Napoleon one, right?
Mhm.
Where the little guy on the tiny horse was riding around.
Yeah.
Don Quixote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, with the windmills. That's right. Yeah, he's
that's
tearing
the
the
one.
windmills
That's
down.
the
yeah.
one.
So
Awkward reference one.
what was neat
Deployed.
was that as you're standing, like one of the coolest shots that we did, which was totally not illegal, was standing on Cemetery Ridge, looking over to Cemetery Ridge, and which is so.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Yeah,
Cemetery?
I'm confused as well.
So cemetery, like cemetery,
Place
Uh-huh.
where you bury people.
right?
Bury.
Right.
Bury?
Cement-
I'm from the South.
Okay,
I
so cemetery,
apologize.
that's where you bury people, right? The cemetery. And then a cemetery, cemetery, like cemetery for girls, like, right?
What?
Cemetery. I'm totally saying it wrong.
Wait,
Hang on a second.
Centenary?
What is that?
cemetery?
Centenary?
A place
No.
where they make
100
cement?
years?
The cemetery?
Cemetery. I'm typing it in, and it's just not. It's
The
coming up.
finishing school. The finishing school.
There you
hill.
go.
Seminary.
The hill.
Oh,
The hill of
seminary.
the finishing.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that's
Cemetery
not for. I
and
mean,
seminary. It's
I was
really
about to say
close.
that's not for girls, but
Yeah.
we're not Southern Baptist here.
Seminary. So Seminary Hill on one side, and then Cemetery Hill on the other side. And what's neat is
There's a
on
huge
one of the hills, I can't remember. I think it's Cemetery Hill, is where there's this giant statue of Robert E. Lee on his horse, and what that signifies is both ends of Pickett's Charge, which was essentially the high water mark, right, of the Civil War, which is the closest the Confederates ever got to win.
Real
the war.
quick, the high water mark being the point in the war the most people died.
Well,
Like that was the
was the bloodiest day of conflict.
crescendo.
Yeah, it was the bloodiest day of conflict. But when they say high water mark, what they mean is that was the closest that the Confederates ever got to winning the war, and it was really the turning point of the war. Like it wasn't well, I don't know. I'm not a historian, but they didn't lose the war that day. But that's what's that maneuver.
It's all downhill
that
from
day.
here.
Yeah, everything went downhill after that.
That was a '90s punk rock song. It's all downhill from here.
So
it was written about that war.
what was it called? Do you remember?
It's all downhill from here.
Oh,
It's not really written about that, but that's the name of the song.
this is good. We're just not even going to be.
This
Anyway,
this is going to be a giant troll fest.
yeah,
you know
this
that,
is.
right?
Thank you. And there's two of you, so I appreciate it this time.
I've been really good, okay?
Tonight. Yeah, right. So
I hope that was in your camera.
so the neat it probably was. Your hairy armpit was but no, so what was neat was we actually got a drone shot with the Mavic Mini going from one side to the other of the actual charge. And
That's
it took several minutes to get from one side to the other.
I know you don't edit, but
In
I
the air.
think they want to see that. I think you should edit that in right now as I'm just talking and killing time.
So we allegedly got some drone footage of that because
Oh, it's not illegal. It's not legal.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think
your
we just
alleged footage should be in.
we
this.
just we sat and we dreamt about doing it maybe.
I beg to differ. You are a historian.
That's his name is Bill Marigold. Oh, see, I got a blog. Check that out. Fantastic. That's just great.
Chris
Yeah,
Skinner,
well known.
historian.
Don't Google yourself. It's just depressing.
Yeah, because I'm the only Duane. Turns out.
No, let me look. Duane Herman. I'm looking it up.
So you got to spend some time with friends at the place.
Duane Butch Herman,
Yeah, that's his name.
Bethel, Minnesota.
Hey, check it out. I'm on something related to me is on my second line of stuff.
I don't Google anymore.
Yeah.
I duck.
Duck is awesome. I got to get in the habit of that.
Yeah, I had to change all
It's
my
tough.
So why do
all
you
my
Duck
browser
Duck?
settings. Mostly because I was tired of getting the ads, the constant ads, and then everything was set to Bing.
Yeah, the
like,
first page of
automatically.
your search results is always ads.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the whole not tracking you sort of thing, like it's bizarre. Since I started using DuckDuck like on everything, I'm not getting a bunch of targeted ads anymore, which is really nice.
And that's duckduck.com.
No,
DuckDuckGo.
Yep, DuckDuckGo. And you can actually set it as your search in your bar. So you just type it up in your bar and you can set it as your search, which is pretty
Nice.
slick.
Somebody
yeah.
should show them how to do that, just in case.
Yeah, they got this.
So what other, so can I tell a story? I don't know if I should tell a story because
no,
this
you should tell
Absolutely.
stories. That's why you're here.
Absolutely.
is a bad idea.
Give us a story.
I have
Story
four other
time
guys
with
who are going to
Duane.
beat me for this.
Okay.
Wow.
If they ever see it.
No, this sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is a good kind of story.
You always did enjoy me getting beat up.
Yeah.
That time in Switzerland, that was ugly.
With that Thai
for
boy?
us. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was ugly.
Yeah, it was good.
So allegedly, me and some guys
Little
may have
did I know
bought-
you were actually a fencer. So that's neat to know.
allegedly.
Apparently you won, right?
No,
Apparently.
No, that was the sad part.
Did you cross swords?
I'm still here. Never cross streams. So some of us were a little worried about the sixth, actually, inauguration and all the stuff that went along with that, and so we may have purchased some we may have purchased some burner
Kayaks?
phones. Burner phones,
You have a burner phone?
maybe.
That's awesome. With Signal,
Allegedly.
with Signal and Telegram and all that stuff nowadays.
So Signal has already leaked out a little bit. Telegram might very well be wide open. Like, listen, so Apple, I know we hate on Apple a lot.
I love Apple.
Well, okay, well that's different than it used to be. But I know we hate on Apple a lot. But
Apple has effectively thumbed their nose at authorities trying to gather information for what it's worth.
that's right. Yeah.
I
So
applaud them.
privacy-wise, Apple's pretty on point. And so we, as we're doing this, we go to set up. And so I used to have VPN, right? I used to have some obscure through my router. What was the WRT54G?
Oh my
Do you
gosh.
remember that guy?
Those are fantastic.
Yeah. So I
It's
used
one
to
of
have
the
a
best routers ever made still.
WRT54G.
Were you
Yeah.
running stock firmware? Are you running Tomasi or something like
I
that?
was running not Tomasi, the other one, the other big one, the biggest one, the one that you can make it
DDWRT?
DDWRT.
That was great.
Yes.
Tomato was
And on that I had a
Yeah, tomato, not Tomasi. What am I thinking?
tomato.
tomato
no,
potato.
Tomasi was an Italian restaurant I went to in Germany. Why
Okay.
am I like substituting that
Was
for
it
a
good,
router
though?
firmware?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
we stopped at
delicious.
an amazing German food restaurant on the way up to Gettysburg.
Was it-
I bet
Real
in
quick, was it-
Pennsylvania. Yeah, absolutely.
Dude.
Was it as good as Hofbrauhaus?
It was actually.
Shout
so,
out to Mr. Wilbanks.
Yeah, so the food was actually better for what it's worth.
Yeah, who cares about the food?
Yeah, no, we didn't get it too many.
Liters of beer
Yeah, yeah.
is the key
drinks.
there.
No, you can't beat the liters of beer.
Scotty,
Liters of beer.
Scotty,
Literally one of the
if we
best.
go down to Charlotte, I know where we're hitting on the way back.
Hofbrauhaus? That's a long way out of
Nah.
the way.
Troutman, right by that barbecue
Oh,
place
I
you
haven't
like.
been there yet.
There's a German place called Bavarian Kitchen. It's excellent, and they have Hofbräu.
Hofbräu. The beer from Hofbräu.
Yeah, so
Let's be honest. The beer at Hofbrauhaus isn't that good, but seeing Retha get
German.
spanked was worth it.
so
So
FBI. Just real quick, the FBI asked Apple to unlock a terrorist's iPhone.
right,
This was in March of 2018, and
Yeah, there
Apple
you
was
go.
like, "Nope, ain't gonna do it."
right.
I got the whole story.
So
And
so
then
I,
the FBI came back and says, "Hey, we, we finally cracked your encryption." And Apple goes, "No, you didn't." And they were like, "You're right, we did. Can you help us?"
and they said no. They actually did. So they hired a guy from Apple. It turns out it's allegedly.
Almost 90% finished with the solution for breaking into the locked iPhone, an iPhone 5C, by the way.
I don't think he ever got through.
iPhone 5. Oh, did he not?
No,
that's
from
also
what I
true.
understand, he didn't.
So
And they did not
nonetheless,
help him.
after my WRT54G that I had VPN through, I decided to sign up for ExpressVPN. It's the one for you. You should sign up. I'll send you my link so that we both get 3 months free.
Why do you need VPN though? What do you got to hide? If you don't have anything to hide, then you're perfectly safe.
Listen,
Yeah.
everything you say can and will be used against you.
In a
I
court.
have cop friends who that is important in their presentation. Yeah.
So, like, I've always thought that, like, some of the mentality of, not all, but some cops was, you're already guilty. We just haven't figured out what you've done yet.
Right.
And there's a law in the books for everyone, no matter how clean you think you are, that they can get you for.
Yeah.
Pretty
yeah,
much, right? Yeah.
So think about it.
I just always think it's funny how, like, in the conservative media, every time a black person gets shot or strangled to death or killed by a cop, the first thing that they do is go do a background check to see what they can put on this guy and say, see, he wasn't a model citizen.
Right.
Like-
Or on
like that.
January 6th where they beat a cop with a blue flag, a blue line flag.
The
That
thin
was
blue line
pretty-
flag. I think it was an American flag and a
Like that
fire
somehow-
extinguisher. Gosh.
Like
No,
that somehow
that's been
justifies a wrongful death, right? Like this person was a model
Yeah.
citizen. Like it somehow justifies a wrongful death.
Anyhow, sorry. Derail. I just kind of had a, not that I have an extra
welcome
ground,
to
but I
the
think the topic
show.
is really interesting. All right, so now that we're recording,
Well,
let's get
he's-
serious, guys.
He's talking about it. He was telling a story.
Yeah. So
that
VPN.
Four guys are going to beat him over.
Yeah.
Apparently
So
it's got to do with
VPN.
VPN.
Apparently all your cop friends.
ExpressVPN. And I'm not saying that it was my cop friends, former cop friends. He washed his hands of that. He
Former
walked away.
cop, but still friend, or former friend, but still cop?
It depends on who you ask and when you ask. He's a good guy. No, he's a great guy. So yes, still a friend, former cop. He
I'm
couldn't do it
enamored by
anymore.
this temporal rift.
Yeah, you should have him come join you one day because he's got stories for days.
Oh, yeah, I bet. I've got a cop friend that I'm wanting to bring in already.
Will he try to
that's-
get everybody to join ExpressVPN on your specific token?
No, that's my plug.
Don't
That's
forget
your
to
plug.
visit our sponsor, ExpressVPN.
Do you guys have any
Offering
sponsors?
services? No,
Express
of course
Rate
not.
Shadow Legend
No,
VPN.
I think-
Now that we mentioned them, they're never going to be a sponsor.
I think you guys should be sponsored by somebody. And so I'm going to
talked to
offer
Chris
you
about-
my
Are
sponsorship.
you
when
are
we've-
you offering to sponsor us?
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
You know,
I'll-
actually, you kind of did. You brought snacks and
beer.
I remember
Yeah.
talking to Chris when we first talked about this. I was like, listen, dude, even if we don't get sponsors, We need to make up a different sponsor every week and do a complete ad read for them. And like people will be searching for it. Man, I got to find out about this.
No,
it doesn't even exist.
So I don't think that's the case. I think you should
it'd be
use real
hilarious.
sponsors, and give them a web address that you have to go to. I'm already your sponsor because that is delicious.
Apparently,
you guys
there's also in the shot. So
see
I
that.
gotta make sure to go.
Good.
I'm gonna have to
So
blur
I think
that
you
out,
should
too.
use real
Can
sponsors.
you make a timestamp for me, please?
Real
That's
sponsors,
good.
and you say the real sponsor, even though they're not sponsoring you yet. Because then, if they start getting hits on their website at this random, like expressvpn.com/the show,
You know what?
right? If they do that,
If we associate somebody to us, we're liable to get sued for libel and slander.
that's true.
If we say they sponsored us and they totally don't sponsor us,
Ooh, that's even
The show
funny.
sponsored by DuckDuckGo.
That's even better. You
Oh,
can
gosh.
give somebody advertisement from something. that
should
they
I
don't want
should I
to
mention the
advertise
D
from.
word? Can we say the D word? Our
Democrat.
sponsor, Disney
Oh.
Plus.
Disney Plus.
All right.
Okay,
Cue
question
the
for you.
lawyers.
I have
Cue
a
the
question
lawyers.
for you. Yeah, if you say the word Disney on the internet, they immediately sue you. However,
It is known.
are you still signed up for Disney Plus?
I've never been signed up for Disney Plus.
I was just
I
kidding.
am really close to not because of what they did over Gina Carano. Like, I'm very frustrated about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So
talked about
I'm,
that a little
I'm
bit
legit
last week.
50-50 on dropping it because, again, my frustration is, look, don't pick sides, right? Don't pick sides. And the big thing that I was getting frustrated about was reading what she said. Is it factually correct? I don't know. Like, I'd have to do some more research. But
That's because you're a Nazi.
Well, everybody's saying, well, she's comparing Republicans to Nazis, and she never at one point in that quote said Republican. She never did.
well,
so
hold on.
it's
hold
fair
on.
enough to
They-
be assumed.
Or
Hold on.
Republicans to Jews. I'm sorry.
I was going to say,
No,
I was going to say the
she-
Democrats compare Republicans and Nazis all the time, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it's encouraged.
So,
Well,
she
to be
did-
fair,
she didn't
both
say
sides
the
of the
word
spectrum
Republican
can
at all.
probably be compared to Nazis.
Yeah, they're
Well,
all on the
what she
spectrum.
was, well, they're all statists, right? But what she was doing though is she was throwing up the idea that these things don't just come out of nowhere. People don't just start rounding people up and putting them on trains to gas chambers out of nowhere.
Well,
It-
shout out to our buddy Toby.
It starts to build up. Gosh, man. Yeah, you deserve one.
Oh,
for
he's
that.
very shout out. Thanks.
But it starts from somewhere. It doesn't just doesn't come out of the blue. And what they did is, we've talked about the dehumanizing of people and how that leads to some of the worst atrocities in human history. And I can't say that both sides aren't guilty of dehumanizing the other. How many conservatives that don't just say those darn dirty liberals, right? And how many liberals do we know that don't say, oh, those stupid Trump voters, right?
What was that? Go find them in the restaurants and make sure that they know that they're not
Oh,
allowed.
yeah.
That
Maxine-
they're not wanted
Maxine
to be
Waters.
Thank you, Miss Waters.
Yeah.
Our buddy Maxine
beautiful.
Waters, yeah. So the thing is, it's like both sides are guilty of this stuff, but one side, it's okay to say this stuff publicly. But if you happen to be aligned to the other side, regardless of whether you leave it ambiguous enough or not, they gonna be out to get you, and they
Yeah.
gonna get you.
I don't-
And they got her.
And
But I wish her the best.
I do
hope-
too. I love Gina Carano. I remember
That interview
was
she did with
crushed.
Shapiro, I don't know if either of you all watched it, but
I've got it
she
pulled up over here.
seems so genuine that I can't see how the rest of America's heart isn't breaking for her, because it is a
mean,
really
she is
messed
an
up situation.
actress.
Well, regardless, man. I mean,
she's a fighter, man. That's different.
I understand. I understand the concept, right? Like we talked about this last week. If you're making X number of thousands of dollars per episode, and your boss says, "Hey, those things you're putting out there, you probably just need to shut up." Well, you probably just need to just shut up and make money. But
So I've thought about that though. I've thought about that for a little bit because
but I kind of admire. I kind of admire what she did. Though.
because for somebody like you and I that literally have nothing to lose, saying something like that
You have
is
something to lose.
it's
not
easy.
gonna-
It's not much.
It's
Yeah.
easy for us to apply Shakespeare here and to thine own self be true, right? It's kind of tougher if somebody's got something to lose.
well. That's also what I'm saying is
Yeah.
like she had made the decision, consciously or unconsciously at some point made the decision. The thing that I'm thinking about, the thing that I believe in is more important than getting paid. Like every single
trippiest part
politician,
was-
literally in Washington, should start thinking about that themselves,
Oh yeah, it'd be
maybe
great if they
helping the
had
people that actually
scruples and
voted them
morals.
in is more important than getting paid. And that's the frustration is you're going to start looking at folks and say, hey, look at this Gina Carano character.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the thing that she said. I don't know. How about somebody that's been in Congress for 47 years and hasn't done a darn thing for anybody, and now he's the president? Like, or who's somebody who is literally,
Let's go back and look at some of the things he said.
or let's go back just 4 years
Not
ago.
acceptable.
He
Somebody
dropped
who's
the N-word last week.
Well, what?
November. So, or let me finish this. Or going back to the last president, who created shady business deals, screwed people over constantly on business deals and stuff.
Yeah.
Yet again, everybody's like, oh no, that's totally fine. Like it's utterly ridiculous.
Well, it depends on which side of the spectrum you're on. The people on the right side are going to they're going to continue to forgive people on the right side, and people on the left side are going to continue to forgive people on the left side, and vice versa. They're all going to call for people on the opposite end of the spectrum's heads.
I saw this fantastic GIF the other day. I saw this fantastic GIF of this kid who was obviously a basketball fan standing. This was years ago, obviously not during COVID, standing on the way out of while the players were all walking out. So walking into locker rooms, and he had his hand out, right? Like he's like, hey, I'm a fan. I'm here.
Looking for them high fives.
Give me a high
from
five.
the players, yeah.
And the players didn't even look at him. Not a single one of them. And you've got to remember that those people are millionaires. They're not you. They're not part of you. You're not in part of the same team.
Yeah.
So this left and right thing, it's so frustrating. You're not part of the team, pal. Like,
Dude,
what did George Carlin say? Like, there's one.
I was getting ready to say it, man. The George Carlin quote. It's one big party. You ain't in it.
That's it. That's
Dude.
it. And so that is frustrating. So you can't play that because it's on the Sun, and I'm gonna have to blur that out too. So you can play it in here. We just can't push it up on.
Do you want to hear it?
She knows better. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to hear this? This is fun. This will be fun. For those of you watching.
So are they going to cancel him now?
The range of challenges Europe and the United States must take on together is broad and complex. I'm eager to hear next from my good friends, an outstanding leader.
Nah, it was a slip of the tongue.
He's just
That was a phonetic slip of the tongue. I can't fault him for
It
that.
totally was, but think about it. If you or I would say it,
you in
Oh, it'd
trouble.
be murder.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
just
If Gina
slowly
Carano would have said that,
losing
they'd be
the
ready to
light in his
crucify her.
eyes.
That's
Yeah.
that's the point.
Problem
Yeah,
with
totally
Gina
slips up.
is even though most of her tweets and posts and stuff weren't really from a Republican conservative slant, the problem with her is that she let it out of the bag what side of that spectrum she fell on. And when you do that, you just paint a big bullseye around you.
But again, like we talked about this before, why is it like that? It doesn't make any
Oh,
sense.
it's so screwed up, dude.
Why is it like
So
that? Why
screwed
do
up.
we care? Like I said before, and I'll tell you this.
We shouldn't. It's engineered.
A mutual friend of ours said, "Don't even tell me that you voted for Trump. If you tell me that, then we can't even be friends anymore."
Yeah, I've been
Rick
dropping names
Sanchez,
all
right?
day.
It's
And I
Rick
was like-
Sanchez.
Yeah, it
Right.
was Rick Sanchez. And I
Default
was like,
name.
I looked at him for a minute. And I was like, dude, really? Like, and he caught himself. He's like, oh no, that's right. I'm sorry. I was like, really? I was like, my first thing was like, really? You thought I voted? Like, no. But, but he said,
Turns out they're both on the same side.
yeah. And I was like, dude, it doesn't matter who you vote for. I said, I think of what I told him. I said, you know who I didn't get to vote for? Bernie or Ron Paul or I don't know, any of the people that got completely crucified all the way through the primaries that never actually got a chance to run. So, I mean, again, I told him, I was like, look, dude, it didn't matter who you voted for because we have one more choice than North Korea. It's the same thing. So, and again, they're all on the same side. This was Trump took too much heat, right? So
Scotty Harrington, 2024.
they're tapping out. Poor Scott. He's such a good guy, though. He'd never make it.
That's why he'll be a great president.
He would be a great president.
I mean, I
think
think
he'd
we
be
got to
fun.
think.
I think he's fantastic. I'm good. I'm good.
I'll be his running mate.
I don't know if he even wants to do it though.
I don't like running though.
You're-
It's the running that's the problem with being a running mate. I don't like doing it, but I will.
for Belgian custard cream mini eclairs.
Listen, I'm about to get you another sponsor if you keep that up.
Chase that down to the. But yeah. Anyway, it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see what happened. It's frustrating how it happened. It's frustrating that it's happening. Get on the. What are you guys laughing about? Get on the. Get on the.
I made eye contact with the camera.
No, did you?
Break the fourth wall.
Nice.
I tore that wall
There are walls in here.
down. Tear the wall.
Oh,
down.
just don't start ripping things down in here. Actually. Anyway, what was I going to talk about? Not this. I don't want to talk about this. This is frustrating.
So it's important to keep yourself safe with ExpressVPN.
Tell us about your 4 friends again.
So
Getting back to it.
We're not going to mention that other VPN service. You know who you are.
Yeah,
Tiger VPN?
I was actually reading something that Nord got hacked not too long ago.
did it? Good.
Oh, yeah.
That was the other company I was looking at. So
No, it was back in 2018. Somebody hacked them for like, I don't know, and I didn't read the entire thing, but somebody hacked them for it was like, I don't know, a month, I think, and they were just copying all the data and stuff on there. I didn't get all the way through the entire thing, but they were, because Nord, one of their things is like, hey, we don't store any data whatsoever, but if you're getting it live, you're getting it live, right?
So
if
somebody was receiving live data,
Right.
live IPs and traffic.
Yeah. That was back in 2018, allegedly. Like, I don't know. And apparently they fixed it. Yeah, confirms it was
scary.
hacked. There you go.
yeah.
But
Duane, you were supposed to be telling a story, dude. Finish your story.
He keeps getting sidetracked, man.
Why do you
I was
keep-
told that this needed to be an expounded process.
Look at that.
Anchor.
I'm taking your all's laptops away.
Look at that.
Stop it.
A MagSafe battery for the iPhone 12.
That's
That's
hot.
I'm
pretty
gonna throw
cool,
this at you.
actually.
So at the end of the day, we're all nerds, right?
This is the third time you said at the end of the day, by the way.
That is
it?
the first time I've actually
Maybe
heard
second.
call yourself a nerd, though, ever.
Yeah.
I've never heard you call yourself a nerd, man.
How long have we known each
That's
other?
pretty cool. A long time.
I feel like you've
It's
reached a
2 years or
milestone
something
here.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we're breaking.
You've
out.
leveled up.
We are bare
You're
minimum.
You're a
we're
level 2
we're-
nerd now. You've admitted it.
Admitted it, right? No, we like gadgets, right? We have
yeah.
lots of gadgets, and stuff like that is pretty awesome. Not that anybody knows what we're talking about. Anchor, a battery company. Anchor, the best battery company, sponsored by.
I know that's
there
all
have been
true.
times in recent history where I've been looking for a solution to help me charge devices on the go, and I've
Raid
looked
Shadow
around.
Legends.
I've looked around all over the internet, all over Amazon, and I couldn't find something that really fit my needs. But I ran across this company named Anchor, and I've read all the good reviews. I've heard good things about this company, but I've never tried it out myself. I finally got my hands on some Anchor devices.
You know, I
and I
sent
gotta
Anchor
tell
to
you,
guys, right?
CEO of Anchor.
I got to tell you, it was one of the
Please
best
check
decisions
out
I ever
our
made in my life.
amazing
It literally
advertisement we just made
changed
for
my
you.
life. And I
Okay.
think
Literally.
that if anyone is looking for a device to help them with anything,
Power their day.
and they've
Who's
got a
this
great
Anchor
warranty.
CEO?
I mean, one of the good things about Anchor is that if you have any problems with anything and you call their support, more than likely they're not going to ask you to even send it back. They're
Mr.
just going to send you a replacement.
I don't think they want that out there.
Anchor
Mr.
is
Steven-
phenomenal.
Mr.
The more
Steven
you
Yang
talk, the
at Anchor.
worse it gets.
Anchor
He's the-
is phenomenal,
he's the
and
CEO.
if
I'm
anybody's
connecting with him on
interested,
link right
get
now.
on Amazon,
I'm gonna
look
connect.
up Anchor, and buy every product
really
they
young.
have, and make sure in the
I wonder
comment
how-
section
No,
of
it's
the
Yang.
order that
He
you
looks
put
really
down
Yang.
that you heard about it from the Wilco podcast,
Yeah, that's good. I actually
I
just
thought
sent
it was
him a
called
message.
the show.
I just sent him a message
aka the show.
on LinkedIn, and I said, "Hey, Mr. Yang, you should really hear our amazing pitch that we just did on our show for all 6 of our subscribers."
Hey, listen, you have a lot of views.
Wait, we're up to 6.
I just leave it on. I just leave it on view over and over
Amazing.
again to pump your.
That's so nice, dude.
Use
I
that.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
That actually helps. So we were getting into the whole SEO.
Comment and
of YouTube
subscribe.
in the
Isn't that
in
what
the
they say?
Yeah,
Don't
they do
forget
that.
to visit our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.
But there's I was reading different ways to beat those algorithms. Like, and one of the things to
I
beat
don't
the
think you have to worry about beating the algorithms with 6 subscribers.
Them YouTube algorithms, yeah.
one of the things was if a video is rewatched,
Mm-hmm.
it changes like how it's ranked somehow. So it's funny you said that, but I'm literally
It's not going to help.
I think all 6 are playing at my house right now. And it just
So,
log out,
so
log
I
back in.
think
I got-
I
at
should
this
probably
point-
log out of our own.
It tracks the
login.
IP for the watch to. So if you
You know,
need
but if
to
you use
your
ExpressVPN,
If you use ExpressVPN,
it does, but it does. It really does track the IP. But yeah, you
I bounce.
log in and log back out with your VPN every time.
I bounce all over Southeast Asia.
Nice.
I do Europe mostly
you?
European countries. Yeah, because you get more relevant to the Western world content.
I like it when I jump over to Europe and then you start getting advertisements for Europe because those are hysterical.
Are they?
Because they don't make any difference to like, it doesn't make any difference to us. But like when they're running elections and stuff, and I was bouncing out of like France, you get all the advertisements and stuff for
I got a little bit of that going on. So like my
French advertising.
Well, no, I'm not using. I'm totally using a VPN for anybody that's. But my internet at the home, since I have to use a rural internet, is going through a cellular company. So it's actually jumping over to like servers in
what
Georgia.
Kind of internet is it?
If you're looking for rural internet service, check out Nomad Internet.
Oh my goodness
Or
gracious.
rural?
If you're looking for rural,
Roll.
Okay, again, I'm from the south.
RUL.
So you're
So-
going to get what you get.
so it's connecting through Georgia though, is where the
Mine too.
so-
but I'm Windstream.
oh really?
Yeah.
That
I don't know.
that is what we call in the business a bad route.
It was so
I'm
so
not
funny
in the
though.
business, but yes, it is.
It was so funny though because we're watching things and all of a sudden we start getting ads for like Georgia political things.
That's awesome.
And it was cracking me up. I'm like, I don't know who this guy
Or
is.
like little auto
but
stores that are
apparently
nowhere near you.
he's a dog. I can't believe this guy would do that.
So who'd you vote for in the Georgia runoff?
It was pretty funny though. It was after the election where they were really spooling things up, trying to swing Georgia to go one way or another to solidify
COVID.
the.
You mean when they were banning one side but not the other online?
Oh yeah,
that was
absolutely.
awesome. Yeah, that was great.
That's exactly
I
what
love
was
when they
happening.
do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Super fair. Yeah, this is a 5K.
Duane, please finish your story.
What are
Gosh.
you doing, dude?
We just
You're
keep
killing
getting
me.
stuck on.
This
So-
is a 5K magnetic
Listen, I said it off
USB-C
off cuff.
wireless power with. It's only $40.
Side note
40
about
bucks.
that.
Yeah.
So the new iPhones are pretty fantastic, right?
I like mine, dude. I'm pretty
the
excited.
the
about it.
MagSafe charger. However, so I have this. I'm about to lose a sponsor. OtterBox.
Ugh.
So this is an OtterBox Symmetry, maybe.
Why?
I don't know. Because I love it because it protects the screen,
Yeah.
right? Because I drop things a lot,
You could get a.
and
You
it
could get
happens
a
a lot.
screen kit. Where's the big one that I gave you? Did you ever give that to the other guy?
I did.
Okay,
Yeah, I
good.
gave that away.
Nice, awesome.
Yeah.
Good thing.
But this is great, but it doesn't work with the MagSafe. Why would they not design their case to work with MagSafe?
Because they have a new charger that's coming out that does work with their otter boxes, I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
I
that's
just
cool.
said that.
It's
That's probably
all
my
about
choice.
planned obsolescence, Duane.
Yeah.
Where have you been?
So what I'm saying,
Speaking of planned obsolescence,
Why
make
did-
sure to visit. I'm just kidding.
Why do these things, Raid Shadow Legends, why do these things still have lightning connectors on them?
because well,
Ooh.
so lightning, I'm pretty sure is never going away.
Well, you know, so even the MagSafe stuff. Like, did you realize this when you
I-
get the little
I don't know,
MagSafe
dude.
box? It's a teensy. I know. Well, see, this is all USB-C as well.
So that was random.
No, it's not random.
Was
this
it random?
is USB-C. That is USB-C. The MagSafe plug on the MagSafe is
It's
also
USB-C
USB-C.
only.
No, it doesn't come with a charging brick. So when you buy a MagSafe
yeah.
plug,
It
it
goes
doesn't come with a
USB-C
charging brick, which is
to-
freaking awesome. So you got to go out and you got to find that
A
somewhere,
USB-C one.
Because
yeah.
everybody has
Everything's
USB-C chargers laying
just
around
laying
their
around.
car and house.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
It's a good
that's
thing it
right.
didn't
Apple
include it.
offers one for $69.99.
Yeah. It's a good thing that
your
it included
Apple.
it in the box.
Did you get it on sale?
Right.
Apple
Got it on sale at
USB-C.
So-
apple.com. I don't know if apple.com is their website. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm sure it
Just
is.
throwing
I'm
that out
sure they're a big enough company they can get Apple.com.
There's somebody
I wonder
from
if-
like the
I wonder if
90s
they have
that scalped
apple.org.
apple.com.
Do you think they have
really
Apple.org?
hope
Made
so.
millions.
Do they have Apple.org?
I'm looking right now.
Change that COM to a ORG and see what happens. No, they don't.
GM.org. Oh, no.
somebody-
Somebody named GM. has
Who
got it.
wouldn't? Why
They
wouldn't
scalped the
have
heck out
all
of that one.
those? Yeah, right. I bet that's worth a fortune.
Geneticmodification.org. And somebody who built this website
redirects.
literally in the late 90s.
Right.
They haven't updated it since then either.
And
He
well,
originally
it's built
hosted on Angel Fire.
I was
That's
going
good.
to say it was built on
Is
Angel
that why
Fire.
the little blinking
Well done.
stars are still here? That's awesome.
Look all the dancing gifs on the page.
It's beautiful.
Goes to that.
Oh, the hamsters.
So-
Those are my favorite.
So it's important to have a VPN to be secure and to be safe.
Yes.
I'm not even sure why we started down that path.
Angel Fire is still a
but it's
thing,
a
isn't
thing.
it?
What?
You were talking about
Ted's caving
Oh, look
page.
at it says create a professional website.
Wasn't Ted's caving page? Wasn't that on Angel Fire, or was that somewhere else?
I don't know.
Was it?
Scotty says yes.
That's such a good read. If anybody hasn't been to Ted's caving page,
You know
Oh,
what?
man,
the
I'm
know what?
telling
worst,
you guys,
You know what? I will put that one in the comments.
the
that is
greatest.
worthwhile. That is one of the
Description.
best
I'll put it in the description.
writing
Ted's caving
prompts
page?
/
Clone make me do
creative
it.
writing experiments that's ever been done.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It is amazing.
The new kids.
It was updated in 2001. It looks like.
Yeah.
That's
No,
exciting.
dude. Dude went through. I don't want to spoil it too much, but dude went through an entire series, and then it just went dark out of nowhere, and it is phenomenal.
Well, the page is black. Is that what you're talking about?
Favorite is it? Would you say it's your favorite early alts random website?
Maybe it's definitely up there, isn't it, Chris?
Did you just call the Ted's Caving page alt-right? Is that what you're saying? It's not nice.
Cancel
No,
it.
I'm trying to remember the Welcome to the Blast Zone. There was an online comic that I used to read. Oh gosh. Wow. All these ideas are coming flooding back to my head.
SKCD
No, I love
or
it. It's
something,
perfect.
or what?
No, SKC, I don't like that company.
No, XKCD.
So, no, there was a Blast. Welcome to the Blast. I shouldn't.
That's okay.
BlastWave. Welcome to the BlastWave. That's it.
Okay.
Have you guys read Going with the BlastWave?
Is that
No.
Is this
No,
a
I've never
book
heard of
or
this
is this
before.
just a
This is a comic strip.
okay?
Here it is, and
You
they've
know
been
what?
doing
I
it for
have
years. Oh, it's still up.
I've seen
Oh
one
my
of these on
goodness.
Reddit before, and I had no clue what it was.
Yeah, Welcome to the BlastWave. You should read them. There's
Okay.
like 100 of them now,
Can
probably.
you send me the link? I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, absolutely. They're
way.
hilarious comics.
I just know that
That way,
there's a
all 12 of the
hedgehog
people
with
that look at this
Glocks.
won't
Right.
have to look
Yeah,
it up
there's a
again.
hedgehog with Glocks and a Doge with an AK. That's
do, you,
pretty.
do you remember Joe Fish?
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
we got to Joe Fish the other night
Joe
talking
Cartoon.
about the
Joe
Joe
Cartoon.
Cartoon. That's right.
Yeah.
Joe Cartoon.
Talking
That's right.
about the Metallica one that they did, where they got
Mhm.
Lars Ulrich. Remember where he was mad about Napster? Remember when they sued Napster because we heard a Metallica
I remember
song the other day.
Napster,
We
and I
heard a
remember it disappearing.
We
And
heard Metallica song the other day, and I was like, man, I am still, and I should probably get over this by now, but I am still mad at Metallica for suing Napster
Mhm.
over the crappiest song that they ever farted out of their backsides. That somebody grabbed it and somebody from their own production crew grabbed it and they put it on Napster because they thought people were going to like it, and they didn't, and it sucked.
and
And
it
they
would make
sued Napster into
yeah.
obsolescence.
somebody from their company thought,
That's
wow,
okay. We went to
this is really
LimeWire.
this is really gonna help them publicly. Like it's gonna help their publicity and everything. And it's like, nope.
But the greatest part
Sue.
is they still lost the war. Like
Mhm.
Metallica still
Yeah.
lost the war.
'Cause
The
we all
entire
moved-
music industry still
we
lost
all
the
moved
war.
to LimeWire
Right.
and started downloading it illegally.
And got
Allegedly.
millions of viruses.
Yeah,
Email.
no, not on Mac
What
because
was-
viruses don't exist on
There
Mac.
was
Dude, the
Kazaa.
first
Do y'all remember Kazaa?
the first M1 virus was released last month.
Oh no,
Yeah, for the new
that's
new Mac.
not good.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you switch to an Intel processor.
You know, if you have
Switch away from it. It's
ExpressVPN,
specifically an M1 processor.
Oh,
the
is it?
Mac. Yeah. The Mac
So they went back to their own processor architecture.
they did, and it's not doing that great. It's
No?
not great at all. Yeah, this thing's a beast.
It's weird. That's what happens whenever you switch away from the Intel architecture.
That's right.
powered by Intel, the show.
Intel. Send that to me. I just sent you a thing.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
a
put it on.
thing.
What
Hang
about
on.
there was Kazaa? There was
Oh,
Oh,
goodness,
gosh.
I remember.
Emule.
Kazaa.
You remember Emule?
Email is
No,
actually
no.
pretty decent.
Email, that was just your nickname
You
in
mentioned
college.
Limer? Yeah.
Napster
Wasn't
was
it
the
though?
one, man.
Heyo. Yeah, man.
I still can't listen to Metallica album because I'm so frustrated. At them.
Right.
But then
Back
the
in
Joe
the-
cartoon, I'm gonna find that one. And
The
put
Joe
that in the comments
cartoon?
too.
Yeah, Joe
Do y'all
Cartoon.
remember stickdeath.com?
Is that where
Yes.
was that a video game?
No, it was another like Joe cartoon-esque thing. It was just a series a dude did
How did you?
that
do
was
that?
all stick figures just getting mutilated and stuff to drowning pool.
Wait, real quick. I just blew Skinner's mind.
Yeah.
Yeah?
What did you do?
I airdropped it to you.
That was. I didn't know you could do that. That's so cool.
So gerbil in a microwave. Superfly 2. Oh, this brings back my
Welcome
teenage
to the Apple
years.
infrastructure, Chris Skinner.
Yeah.
All right,
apparently
look.
everything
Wow, I
just
said your
works.
name again.
Here, airdrop.
Dwayne, what have you done?
Doesn't matter.
I've been calling him Skinner this whole time.
one's gonna
So
watch us anyway.
Yeah, sure. You kidding? They'll hear
I
I'm
love that.
on
Every
it.
time I say
Dude,
that,
no,
Chloe
Dude,
just
your
laughs.
mom's
Yes.
gonna know that you're doing a podcast, Chris.
Bam.
Already got it.
It's messed up.
LeBron James in a blender.
Wow. All right, I'm looking at Hillary. Oh, dude, 2016.
Yeah,
He's-
this is.
he
That's
has-
actually.
He's kept this
recent.
updated. Yeah, I'm looking for the old Metallica one. It's hysterical.
All right. So Dwayne's got a VPN. We've established that much
Right.
about this story.
Security is important, both physical security,
Uh-huh.
which we were talking before the cameras came on, and we're gonna do a gun show. Do you have tickets?
You
We
keep your
we
shirt
kind
on.
of like
Do you,
welcome to the gun show.
welcome to-
We
you
started
got a
down that
Band-Aid?
path.
Because I'm cut. Do you
Oh,
have
nice?
needle and thread? Because I'm ripped. I still remember I wrestled back in the day, high school and beginning of college. And in high school, there was a kid who used those jokes. He was our lightweight. He was our like 109 pounder.
Wow.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
I had a good one from
He
that
was
era.
tiny.
I had a good one from that era back in the day. I heard it recently. It was your mama's so slow it took her 9 months to make a mistake.
Ouch.
You're a mistake.
So security is important, both physical. both physical.
I thought it was
and,
pretty good. I was like, wow.
and online, because let's be honest, everybody's watching you, and everything you ever say. This is why I was scared to death to be here with you guys
dude,
today.
with that in
is
mind,
everything
though,
I say will be held against me.
Avast Antivirus. I mean, it's a solution for any application, any platform you got. Avast Antivirus can help you with separating the malware. Speaking of malware, malware bites. It's long. Sorry,
It does look like him.
I'll stop.
It does. No, you keep going. We're watching something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you got to fill time.
I am never letting y'all have computers here again.
This is perfect.
It's talking about. It's funny. The joke art. Yeah, he's got it pulled up now too.
Lars.
Yeah, with
Metallica,
Lars.
Napster Bad.
And
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Blast from the past, right?
and the big
It
guy.
feels
I
good.
don't remember his name in the
It
back.
feels good.
He's Napster Bad the entire time. It was pretty funny. My favorite part's coming up here shortly.
Boris.
There
I
it
feel
goes.
like his name
Napster
should
Bad.
be Boris.
Money
I
good.
was never a Metallica fan.
Oh man, nothing else matters, and Enter Sandman, and
Yeah, those are two songs that they did.
yeah, that's
I-
good. Look at
yeah.
He starts crawling around. See, he's
So-
just freaking out because he's all coked up all the time.
Right.
It's about. I think he's talking about the
my
gold-plated
90s were more
Lamborghinis
DC
with
talk,
Filipino.
I think.
Huh?
My 90s were more like DC talk.
Supertones.
I went
OC
to some-
Supertones.
I went to some
Supertones are fun.
pretty crazy ravers
Audio
and-
Adrenaline.
We're about to
and-
share two
and
completely
cow
different
pastures
stories.
playing DC talk. I've got some.
Oh.
I've
Wait,
got
what?
some stories
So
about that.
Wait, first Duane has a story.
Them folks is crazy.
Sponsored by
I'm not telling. No,
Malwarebytes.
.com.
I'm not telling that story.
So I'll share mine because mine is wholesome. I used to be part of a group, and
Is this a different
church,
story or the
right?
same story?
Different story.
No,
we'll
we're-
get back
we're
to the
scrolling
original
again.
eventually.
We heard you like stories, so now there's stories in your stories.
There's
so
stories
you
in
can
your
story while
stories.
you store.
Right. Yeah. Eventually we'll get back to security. And so so the short version is we used to do this thing called Bible Man. Now it's like a thing, and you'll get sued if you
Bible
do it.
man,
Bible
Bible
Man.
man.
At
He
camp.
can do anything.
We did
now
a church
Bible
camp.
can.
He's a superhero, right?
Yeah, he was a superhero,
Yeah.
and I was a villain in Bible Man.
Hold on. Why would you get sued for doing it now?
Because Bible Man's a real thing. So after we did it,
Christians
back,
sue each other for IP infringement.
yeah, I don't know that they would,
It's
but
it's part of Leviticus, I
it's a
think.
thing. It's in Leviticus.
BibleMan.com.
Baal and the
Is that what you're
Dragon.
saying?
or
Yeah,
something
he
like
looks
that?
ridiculous. Our Bible Man was cooler. He was this guy who was like 110 pounds, and the reason we did that is because us, who were a little heftier,
Oh, you're
What do you
like-
mean, Duane?
we
you're
were
a
the
buck
villains.
15 or something.
We were the villains, and we would like run Bible Man into a wall, and he would. Yeah,
You
he looks
serious about this?
ridiculous. That's not what ours. Listen, Michael Childress, since I'm saying last names, is a good friend of mine.
This is what
and he was
millennials
a
want.
Fantastic Bible Man. Better than that, he had a legit costume, and we would run him against the wall at camp in front of like a sea of kids.
What do you
and
mean?
he would run up, like we would grab him by the shoulders and run him against the wall, and he'd run up the wall and do a backflip and smash our heads together.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we had like
That is
legit
cool.
things. Oh, it was
That's
super
awesome.
cool.
We
And
had like legit things.
yeah, we did real stuff. Like we would throw him up in the air, and he would like kick us, and we would fall down, of course. So the big guys were the villains. What we learned in the practicing of this is you always had the good guys be the little guys. Because
yeah.
one, you have the overcoming aspect.
You got the,
The
David
underdog,
Bryce
right?
And
Everybody
two-
wants to root for the underdog.
Yeah.
Well, no, and two, it's
Nobody
it's
likes a
easier
bully.
to do cool stuff whenever the big guys can throw you around and
Right.
you land on your feet and smash them.
Yeah.
And so we
so
did.
always pick a cat as the good guy.
The cat's always. I hate cats. Gosh, I hate cats. But we used to do.
Hold on, I struck a nerve here. Let's talk about this cat.
I don't want to talk about it.
What did the cat do to you, Duane?
Cleaned. I had a water bed as a kid, and she would. Mama Kitty was the name. Her name. was
Obama
Mama.
Kitty?
Obama kitty?
Mama Kitty.
Oh.
This was Bush 1, and she would clean herself on my water bed at 2 a.m. And so you're laying there going, right? And it was horrific, absolutely horrific. And so I'd kick her across the room. I hate cats. Nonetheless, we had Bible Man, and we'd run them together. How did we get here?
Would Bible Man kick the cat too?
I mean, probably, because cats are the devil. And so what were we talking about to get here?
You were talking about
Bible man. I remember Bible
Yeah,
man.
That's
what
literally
brought
what
up
you're
the
talking
two
about.
stories? We
And
had two
Duane
stories.
hates cats.
Oh, OC Supertones. And so we would always have music. We would have music going.
Supertone strike back.
No, you are the devil and the devil is bad, right?
Yeah.
And that was our fight song.
I remember all
That
that.
was the fight song.
You can
You
buy
are the
volume
devil and
2
the
right
devil
now.
is bad. Hey. And that's what we fought to. We would choreograph our fights to You Are the Devil and the Devil is Bad.
By OC Supertones.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you were at DC Talk on acid in the middle of a field.
Some weird stuff, man. That's it. It was actually
You know what? That really explains a lot.
the one.
does.
The one part of the story,
Florida,
I can't tell
right?
Is
Hey.
actually it's Georgia. Actually, there's in Florida. Georgia's literally
Wait,
just an
wait.
extension of Georgia. Did you guys? Why'd you lick your pinky before you did that? That was really weird. I remember that it was. I remember that night because there's this one. I never remember her name. I have no idea what her name was, but she just looked really uncomfortable because everybody else was getting really comfortable, and.
He missed. Things happened while we were off camera.
I can't imagine
And
being
he
17 years old and I took this perfect stranger that I'd never met before this night halfway across the county home to her house. It was locked, like none of her parents were there, like no one was there. She had no key, she couldn't get in. And I sat there until like 11:30 at night with her because she was absolutely petrified. The house was like, it was this giant box house. Like it was probably like, I don't know. It was a cow pasture home, so it was in the middle of a big giant field. But the house was larger. It was like, I don't know, it must have been 3,000 square foot on the bottom, and it was like 3 stories. It was huge. And when I sat there for like
Interesting.
2 hours, I'm done.
Did he just slam his laptop?
No.
Man, it's been a year and a half since I've been able to get him to slam his laptop, and that's what just happened.
I didn't even want to tell the story. I wasn't even interested. Do it.
Okay, it's
Oh,
went
goodness
downhill.
gracious.
No, really, finish your story.
No,
We're
I'm done.
listening.
I was already done.
There was the field.
So she's just a giant box house.
Mortgage rates hit 1.9%, APR fixed. I'm just going to read random ads on Bing now.
How is that any different from the rest of our
So
shows?
security. Security is important, both physical security, which we'll talk about next time I come up and bother you guys, but also your computer needs to be secured because at the end of the day, anything you said can and will be used against you.
3
And
times.
whether that's said through your face or through your fingertips on a computer.
Well, give me an example. Like, what are one of the things, other than poor Gina Carano here, what are one of the things that can and
I
said
mean,
be?
think about it. She got ostracized just for what she said, right?
Wrong
so
thought.
And did she actually say something, or did she just post something?
She tweeted something somewhere
Did
about
she tweet
something.
it, or did she retweet it?
No, she
No, she tweeted.
Okay.
It was a legit tweet.
She tweeted that quote. I'm sure somebody can pull it up here. But the quote from her has been compared to a false equivalency and diminishing the Holocaust by comparing Republicans to Holocaust victims.
Right, and I think
Which she, like I said,
That was not the
never
case.
said Republicans in it at all.
yeah, but it was heavily implied.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I mean, looking at it from the outside, being not right or left really, I can look at it and say, yeah, people on the right do this to people on the left
I
too.
thought you were a fundy.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm totally a fundy. This is
a character you're supposed to
the
be
number
playing.
one
It says
evangelical conservative in-flight magazine review
warned you.
podcast.
It says Jews were beaten in the streets not by Nazi soldiers but by their neighbors, even by children. Quote, because she posted that, but this is actually posted from some other, like, she retweeted this, man. I don't think she actually said this, because there's a picture.
I
and
never
all that
considered
other-
the
Nonetheless,
quotes.
even
Yeah.
if it was a retweet, it's not terrible. What it is like you said, wrong thought. But
I mean, there's even a,
Disney can do what they're going to do, right? And I am glad she got picked up, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
She got picked up by another organization who's trying to push back against that. That's pretty awesome. But at the end of the day, your digital life leaves a trail. Leaves a trail. What's the 4 for?
Nothing.
Yeah, I was just kidding. Your digital life leaves a trail, and if that can be used against you to cancel you or to ostracize you or whatever word you decide for, it will be.
But see, what you're talking about now is different ways that we can censor each other, and that's the frustrating part, and that's what people aren't understanding is when somebody does say, "Hey, you know what? You said that thing, so doggone it, you're going to go ahead and get fired." Hold on a second. What are the look? I'm tired. There's the lawyer speak, which is, well, technically, it's only the government that can't fire you, and the government can't post against you, and you can't be thrown in jail for violating free speech.
Freedom of speech only applies to the government restricting you.
What about
that's true.
what about the sense of it though? Like, what about the spirit of the thought of, no, this country is created so that people can speak their minds.
Well, what
because
is going to...
the only way that we get the only way we grow, the only way we get better, not only as people but as a country, is when you're hearing dissenting opinions.
Right. So I agree with that, because you and I 2 years ago...
Son of a gun. You know what? I remember going through a checklist here, Duane, and
Listen,
part of it was...
So here's the thing.
Silence
I only
everything.
unmuted because I wanted to show you guys that video. And 2, that was a phone call to my cell phone that showed up on my laptop.
I know. I actually,
which is pretty great.
Yeah,
that it does
I actually do
but
that
it can
too.
be
It's
causing
Not during
problems.
a podcast.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean,
Tell
is
Bible-
it a podcast?
Tell Bible Man you'll call him back.
It was my son. It was my 9-year-old. 9-year-old. His birthday was last week. Happy birthday, buddy.
Your son is Bible Man? Alter ego unveiled.
Right. So
Spoiler alert.
so I don't remember what we were saying.
It's about the spirit of freedom of speech being
Right.
not just the government.
So
can't throw you in
ultimately,
jail.
what's going to happen is the other side of the aisle.
Yeah,
for
there will,
lack of better
there will be a
terms.
large pendulum swing one way or another. It continues to happen.
Right.
Well,
I-
it
never
was
fails.
20 years
Oh,
ago.
Yeah.
I remember
This is the
saying.
pendulum swing from 20 years ago.
So you know that I don't mind dissenting opinion, because we've had a lot of conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because who will make the roads, and
You're like professional
HOAs, right? HOAs.
right. The HOAs. No, I don't mind dissenting opinion. However, what's going to happen with both sides? I think both sides do it.
Oh, they absolutely do.
They all
We-
do it. Yeah,
we-
absolutely.
I don't know if you watched or listened to last week our recording, but it was
yeah.
like we talked about this in depth.
Oh.
And the thing is like you remember back during the 90s and early 2000s, Nike, Pepsi. I mean, if there was anybody that did anything,
I'm
like
a millennial.
positive,
I don't remember the
Gotcha.
early 90s.
if anybody did anything positive towards like gay rights or anything, every conservative you know of, every church group was boycotting Pepsi and Reebok
Or
or whoever
Disney.
else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, conservatives have been
Absolutely.
doing cancel culture for how long?
That's right.
Both groups do. I mean, good grief. Think about the
One
Red,
side was much
the Red
better at it
Scare
than the
and
other.
McCarthyism was essentially cancel culture. That's
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely what it was.
I agree. And so what's going to happen now in our day and age is the conservative side of the aisle is just going to build their own infrastructure. I mean, you talked about Gina Carano.
Well, they have been already, right?
Right. She got canceled,
And
and
the
that day announced...
Technocracy is trying to fight that. But
Right. Well, Gina Carano got canceled, and that day she announced that she signed with the Daily Wire crew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who's I mean, you know, I listen to Shapiro some, and he's a bright guy, and I enjoy that he uses his like he goes after both sides. He's got his slants, right? With, like anybody, but that day they signed because they're trying to build this sort of anti-mainstream wave, I guess.
and eventually it's just going to end up being a anti-left libertarian slanted thing because that's what they typically devolve into.
Well, the frustration,
I mean,
Right.
I mean,
Fair
it
enough.
is. It's going to be another pendulum swing.
the frustration though with all of it is you say one side of the aisle, the other side of the aisle, it's all the same side of the aisle.
Yep.
And that's the frustration is you say,
Like
well,
your basketball player analogy with the little kid trying to get high fives.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what side of the court you're standing on. When these guys are walking out to the locker room, they will or they will not do it. But so the best analogy that I have for it really is think of the Super Bowl that just happened. Okay, there's a lot of people that are mad that. So first of all, you know, one of the best memes I saw, I think it was you. Somebody sent that, I can't remember, that it said, what was it?
It was probably me.
That said, it was about is a number one HR lesson learned is retain top talent, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Because
That was Mr. Wilbanks again.
Tom
Second
Brady
one,
moved from the Patriots to the Bucks, and now the Bucks won the Super Bowl. Literally, you can't,
Surprise.
yeah,
right?
you can't say, oh, that was just a no. That's because top talent, right? So
Yeah.
for all those corporations out there that are more concerned with their bottom line than top talent, that's how you get places.
But
anyway,
he is the best goalie since Michael Jordan, for
Yeah.
what it's worth.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
But the best thing,
Sports ball.
but about that is when you take a look at those two teams, there were some men that were walking off that field that were upset because they didn't win, and yes, men because they don't let women in the NFL. By the by,
They do, don't they?
not a bit.
No.
There
It's
was,
gender
wasn't there a
neutral.
kicker?
No.
She was in college
When's
this
the last?
year.
When's
This
the last?
year,
When's the
there
last
was a
time you
female
saw?
kicker this year. She made like a 15-yard field goal and
No, why aren't
got
there any
celebrated.
female quarterbacks? Still not out there. Anyway,
Yeah, they need more diversity there.
I think
really
you're
do.
going to lose audience if we get into that conversation.
but my point is,
Don't ostracize half the population.
my point is, you've got
We'll lose 2 people?
who'd the
2 out of 6.
who'd the Bucks play?
The other team.
Okay,
I don't know.
so the Bucks and the Penguins,
The
Was that
Chiefs.
something?
The
Chiefs,
Penguins.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay,
It's the Penguins.
so the Bucks and the
Yes.
Chiefs, right? Like there's a bunch of Chief fans that are upset that the Bucks won. There's a bunch of Bucks fans that are happy that they won, right? But at the end of the day, the players, they were upset. Like the players were definitely upset that they didn't win.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, the NFL won. Every one of those guys was going to
Oh,
walk
yeah.
off the field. They're going to shake hands because they just made an extra however many millions of dollars for playing in that game. And I know you're going to go on and on about how rigged it is, and I don't know. But
No,
They-
just the UFC is rigged.
they made an extra $1 million of that. And you know who didn't? Are the people who went and watched. Actually, I guess nobody got to watch the game in the stands. But the NFL won. That's the point. Is it doesn't matter if the Bucks win, the Bucks lose. The NFL still won because you logged in, you watched the game. You absolutely didn't stream it on a hack stream online, and you watched it on NBC or whatever.
Legitimately,
Yeah,
This
for
is
sure.
the first time in years that I haven't watched the Super Bowl.
What's the
Oh, me
first time
too.
that we haven't
Me too.
Vegas?
Vegas.
I was gonna say I didn't
Usually
even,
we watch the Super Bowl together.
yeah, I
And
didn't even
missed
watch
you.
the Super Bowl.
Both
Yeah,
of you guys. Well,
I
you
didn't
weren't
watch
there
it
last year.
because that's the only reason
I
I
was there
watch it
last
is
year.
because we're in
2 years
Vegas.
ago you weren't there.
But anyway, the NFL won. So the same can be applied to the government. Left, right, it doesn't matter. Whoever's winning or losing right now, it's not the other side. So right now the left is winning because they're beating everybody to death with
Because
this
they're better at what they're doing.
with this cancel culture, right?
They're
Whereas
winning the
back-
culture war.
Whereas
Yeah.
back in the 80s, the conservatives were winning the
Mhm.
culture war, and you saw that because you had a lot of conservative presidents back to back, right?
Yep.
But then now,
Maybe both sides needs to lay down their arms into the riverside.
but they're on the same side. That's my point. It's all part of the
Yeah.
same team.
Fair.
So the left and the right are part of the same team. You're not part of the team, right?
Yep.
Because you're the fans in the crowd that are getting mad about the Bucks winning or losing. You're the ones that are getting mad about Deflategate. You're the ones that are getting mad, right?
Yeah.
But the ones that are winning are the politicians,
Yeah.
are the people that are getting paid, the people that are getting money for this, the people that are consolidating power
The statists and the croniest are winning
at the federal
every
government
time.
level, right? The lobbyists and the lawyers and like all these folks that are keeping and propping this system up, and they're causing this back and forth because, as an old mentor of mine said, he said, if the government's pointing this way, you got to look over here. What do they look over
Oh, yeah.
behind you?
George Washington.
What
Yeah.
are they keeping you?
Especially the media. Anytime everybody on the media won't shut up about one thing, there's probably a dozen things happening in the background that they're not wanting you to see.
Well, I think they constantly overflow us with more than we can handle anyway. Like that's
Oh, yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
process.
You
as
you
fast
flood
as it
them with
comes.
information, and they the chances of us catching what's important is a lot slimmer.
Right. And
It's a valid strategy, and for what it's worth, they're playing the long game. We're sitting here worried,
Right.
as the common people are sitting here worried about every 2 to 4 year elections, maybe the 8-year term if it comes up to that. But in the meantime, they're sitting there looking at, okay, this term, when we get our people in Congress and the Supreme Court and all these different areas, we're going to push for further government involvement in these areas because it's more friendly to this side of the aisle. And then in 4 years, we'll orchestrate something, and then we can push it on the other side and get more defense contracting or whatever it happens to be, expand police forces.
right,
and
because it
power.
turns out both sides want to
And-
spend money.
And
just
both
where
of
they
them,
spend
it
it.
just the boots of tyranny march
Left,
left, right.
right.
So
left
I can't
every
tell you
4
how
years,
many
right?
times
That's
I,
right.
I got. Where did you get that saying? By the
Dude,
way,
I don't even remember, but
well, good. I attribute it
so
to you,
succinct.
so
because
I'm
it
giving
makes
it
so
to
much sense. Thank
It
you.
does.
Yeah.
I cannot accept it because I'm sure I've heard it from somewhere else. But it
you. Too late. I have an entire text thread.
absolutely is true.
where it's
It
yours.
absolutely is true.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
And the worst part about that is the folks that are in the middle, in between, that don't have anything to do with any of it and that don't benefit of it. This is one of the things that Scotty and I were talking about when we were out there at Gettysburg. You're out there on the battlefields. We're in the wheat fields, right? We're walking past the peach orchard. We're literally driving through Devil's Den and all these places, and you're looking out there and you're like, these folks were driven from. I mean, they marched, right? Some from Florida, some from Tennessee,
yeah.
some from Vermont,
Florida,
New
your people.
Hampshire. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. There was actually
Hundreds of
Floridians
miles.
there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Believe it or not, Florida was split. There's a lot of states that you don't believe. A lot of
It's because
states
they're half Yankees.
were split between the Union and the
No,
Confederates.
fun fact: West Virginia, right?
West Virginia was almost entirely.
Didn't it used to
Confederate.
just be Virginia?
West Virginia. So fun thing with West Virginia, it was Virginia during the Civil War, and they split. They seceded from the South during the Civil War. If you really, really, really want to get super technical, West Virginia shouldn't be a state. It should have went back to being simply Virginia.
What about North and South Carolina?
Because they didn't secede from Virginia when Virginia was part of the Union. Interesting thing.
Well,
I'm not sure about South
now
Carolina.
you're going to start talking about quorums, and you're going to start talking about voting. While you
it
had a
gets
bunch
down.
of states that weren't actually a part of the union, that didn't get to sit at the table when a bunch of amendments got passed, and you're getting into some really serious stuff right now. But my
I think you
point,
can only deal with what you have currently.
West Virginia was mainly comprised of Southern sympathizers, from what I understand, and many people within industry and politics decided to
Is that
side
why-
with the North for financial and political reasons.
Is that why they kept that tiny little slither of
I
Virginia
really-
to separate West Virginia from the South?
I think it was for the best.
We didn't want you either.
there was but what I was getting at was you've got these people that they marched there from everywhere, and at the end of the day, you had on one side. I mean, so I'll lay it out. I know I said we're going to talk about it, but we're talking about it now, so whatever. Laid out on one side, you had a bunch of folks who wanted to make a bunch of money, and they figured out that they wanted to make a bunch of money by oppressing some other folks into doing things for a lot less than they should be doing it for, right? And then you had the South who wanted to keep slaves, right?
What's funny is that first description could have applied to both groups. Was the
It
best
really
part.
is, right? And that's the thing is you basically have both sides of the war.
Yeah.
You've got the North that are oppressively built. We talked about tariffs before earlier on today. We were talking about tariffs.
Tariffs, embargoes, all
Where
kinds of restrictive laws.
The
to-
North is pushing all these tariffs, and they're pushing taxes, and they're pushing all these things on the South. Meanwhile, telling the South, you need to sell us these things at this price because they're making a ton of money, right? The South, on the flip side, is going, okay, well, I guess we're going to have slaves because that's how we're going to make those prices. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not defending the people with slaves. Let's be honest. There are rich folks that were given their
Yeah, I was gonna
land
say,
by the
you're-
king.
By,
So,
by saying that about the South, you're not defending people as slaves because the South weren't the only one with slaves.
right. Well,
Well,
no, the Northern,
that's
the North had slaves.
outside
That's
of
one of
that,
those ugly
what,
facts, right? That
2%?
nobody wants to admit.
Yeah, right. 2% of Southern families had slaves, right?
Right, right.
So it's a tiny, tiny slither. And we were talking a
Why do
little
you
bit
look at me when you say that?
And the same amount.
because you're a cabal and you had them all.
The
The
same
cabal
amount
cabal.
in the North had slaves, and one of the major reasons for
sure.
fighting the war was to not expand slavery into the new regions. And just to be super duper clear, slavery is an abomination. Absolutely never should
Yeah.
have happened. It's
Right.
ridiculous that we live in a culture that you
reprehensible.
have to say that now, right? Like the whole Nazi thing before,
Because if not, people are going to assume you're in favor of
right?
it. Right.
Like the Nazi
Right.
thing before, where somebody has to say,
Silence is
and real quick,
consent.
we think Nazis were abhorrent too, right? So
yeah, absolutely, and
And,
that's it's
and we
frustrating.
don't
You have
believe
to say that.
silence is consent.
What is it?
Wait,
These truths that we hold self-evident, like kind of like slavery's bad, Nazis bad, like there's a lot, Apple bad. There's a lot of things
it's
like
kind
that. Google bad,
self-evident is like common sense.
Twitter bad,
Not everybody has it.
Facebook terrible.
Yeah.
But so you go through this back and forth of you've got the North oppressing the South, you've got the South oppressing its own people. And then both of these are bad actors, right? You
Yeah.
look at it; they're both bad actors.
Turns out there's no good guys.
Yeah.
Are you saying we don't exist in
That's-
a world of black
that's
and
the
white, but
in the-
rather a world of gray?
That's the strange thing in war,
Lots of
right?
gray. Not enough at Pickett's
How
Charge.
many
apparently.
shades of gray would you say there are?
At least 50.
Sorry, buddy.
I'll bite. At least 50.
At least 50.
And
There's at least 50 shades of gray.
and the craziest part about that
Maybe
is
52.
when you break it down and you look at both sides.
Now on audible.com, 50 Shades Gray.
the craziest part was when we're standing there and you're listening to some of the things and some of the letters that the soldiers wrote. They said, "Tell my family that I died facing the enemy." No, dude, you died facing another American. Like
you died
that's the
facing
thing
your
that
brother.
killed me the most.
Brothers,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like there were several battles right there in Gettysburg where you had literally brother against brother. You had brothers on both sides.
Yeah.
There was
Virginia.
one where a colonel or somebody's his sister got killed at Gettysburg. Like he was there and his sister lived there and his sister literally got killed at Gettysburg. So it wasn't even just, I think she was the only, I can't remember her name, but she was the only civilian technically killed in the war in Gettysburg besides that one little girl that went missing. But anyway,
I was gonna say Sherman's march through the South probably killed a lot of civilians too.
oh yeah, well yeah, I was just talking about Gettysburg. But the craziest part is you've got these people marching from all over, right? And they're there for what purpose? For these high-minded ideals, maybe that they might believe in, maybe they don't believe
That
in.
only stand to profit the rich.
But at the end of the day, it's because somebody is losing money unless they, and they both are, right? So the Confederates are going to lose money if they lose slaves. The North actually is going to lose money if they lose slaves, but they're also going to lose money if the South doesn't keep doing what the South is doing at
I
the
hate to
prices
give
they're
credence
selling.
to any of your Marxist tendencies, but
And it's and the frustration is you've got the little folks, us,
the rich were definitely the problem. in
the
that
other
equation.
98% in the middle that are literally fighting and dying for these rich folks. And it sounds very Marxist, like you said. It's funny. I thought I was
You
I
filthy
thought I was a
Marxist.
classical liberal for the longest time, but I guess I'm a Marxist.
So speaking as someone whose family fought in that, like verifiably,
Wait. If you think you're a classical liberal, but you're actually more of a Marxist, does that make you a paleocon?
Yes,
So,
that's good. PC.
speaking
I'm
as
PC now.
someone-
I'm actually finally PC.
someone whose family fought there.
Before you go,
Okay.
my
Dwayne, just shut up for a second.
my ancestors are
Let's keep going down this.
no my great grandparents actually came from Germany. All right,
right
So check this
after
out.
the Civil War.
After
Yeah,
slavery,
you aren't even a part of this
after
conversation. We'll talk.
slavery and before the Nazis, so I am all good.
He's
My whole family tree is
Yeah, I'm going to
straight.
need to see
Were they-
that
I
mean, not
in
straight.
writing.
Were they involved?
West Virginia.
Were they involved in the Anabaptist Rebellion in Munster?
My family tree is a stick,
I
is
gotta
what
find
Skinner
that out.
just
I'm not
said.
sure.
That was like
Uh,
16. Was it 16 or 1700s? I think it was
Well,
1600s.
Germany wasn't even a country back then.
So to rewind a little bit there, we talked earlier. My family fought in the Civil War, and you say it was they were fighting for one side or the other, but it seems that it was expected of people, according to to the letters, and really they didn't fight for one cause or another so much as they fought for
Their family honor.
he got paid a square mile of land.
Oh, really?
My great
Yeah.
great grandfather was dirt poor.
I figured it would be to stay the ostracism that would
No,
happen
when you
if you
start
didn't
talking
fight.
about
No,
people who can't
it was
eat,
a way
they
to make
can't. It was where we're at Jamestown. I've told this story before. We're at Jamestown, and we were gone in February, right? So I'm just gonna set the scene. We're walking through Jamestown. She was with me. We're walking through Jamestown. We're gonna go visit the silversmith's house, and the silversmith had slaves, obviously. So he was actually the guide. I can never not remember his name. I wish I could. The guide separated them between the 1% and the 2%, like you said, because the 1% was the gentry, and these are the people that were. And the gentry is a beautiful word because it really does encapsulate a lot of folks. But you had the gentry, and then you had the 2%, which were the folks that didn't work with their hands, but they more worked with their minds, kind of like the old white collar workers, sort of.
So that would be the aristocracy.
Yes. Well, he was
Everyone below gentry, but not quite commoners.
that man was a worker,
Yeah.
right? But he didn't like dig in the dirt. Like he created goods
tradesman.
that he then sold to the gentry. Okay,
Mhm.
so let me just set the scene, and I'm gonna say, like, I judged a book by its cover beforehand, but I kept my mouth shut because it's always more important to see how things play out, and maybe you can close your mind, close your mouth, and learn something, right? God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Anyway, so we're walking along. It's in February.
He also gave us 10 toes. So
The quieter
What do
you
you do
are,
with
the
that?
more
That's how
you're
you
able to
count.
hear.
Specifically, so
That's because he really wanted us to use the decimal system.
the Dewey Decimal System.
Metrics.
Well, what about the other 10 digits we have?
Oh, yeah.
11. We have 11 other digits.
Gosh, he really wanted us to use the bidecimal system.
So we were walking
make
through
you
Jamestown.
bi-curious?
We're on our way. Walk into the house so we can see the slaves' quarters. That's what we're going to walk through, the slaves' quarters, and then walking through the house. So
I remember the story.
let me set this up because it's in February. So it's Black History Month. Okay, we have a black. His words, not mine. We have a black college
Before you
professor.
say black anymore, do we need to preface that we have black friends?
He was a
I thought you were our black friend.
his words specifically were
Less
you are
than 2%?
no you yeah the genetics don't lie.
Counts. Yeah.
So his words, Black History Month. He is a black history professor at one of the local. It was a prestigious college. I just can't remember what it is. and we're gonna go visit slave quarters, and he's gonna tell us about it. So I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. Like,
Get yourself ready.
right. So I pushed that down. I was like, no, have an open mind about this, because this is how you learn stuff, right? Because I'm thinking of my time in college when I had a bunch of white apologist professors. There's one guy literally would sit up in front of the class and wring his hands and go and talk about and just literally apologize. Like I went to school in Atlanta, so I was
About how awful we are.
yeah, and it was
I
over
mean,
and
you
over.
all are.
Right, that's a good point. I need to get my 23andMe back
98%
yet.
of you.
By the way, one of our other sponsors, 23andMe.com, you can go and you can find out your
I'm glad
ancestry.
I made an impact here. I'm going to
Well,
monetize
he does it
this
every
for you
week,
guys.
man. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so we're walking through to go to the slave quarters, and it was funny because he started out the conversation. I'm not going to get exactly right, but he started out the conversation. He says, now y'all are walking through here just wondering, looking at all these nice fancy houses and these pretty yards and these white picket fences.
You're appropriating my culture by making that voice.
What voice?
The southern slang, like drawl.
Trying to sound like you're not from Florida.
Yeah, you're from Florida. We all know it. Florida man.
And you all are walking through and you see.
Whoa. What just happened?
You just got canceled.
A mi escuela.
Ah, okay. Now you
See,
sound like you're
it's
from
good.
Florida.
There
Okay,
you
it
go.
makes sense.
All right, so we're walking through, and he says, now y'all are thinking that this would be really nice to live back in this era, looking at these nice fancy houses, these nice fancy lawns.
Gone
Look
with
at
the
all these-
wind. Yeah.
Look at all these beautiful like balls and stuff that they used to have, like the big balls, where they had dances and stuff, right? Talking about all the luxury that was around, and he said, but he stopped in the middle of the road and turned around and he says, but I can tell that none of y'all belong here. None of y'all would have lived in those fancy houses.
Yep.
None of y'all would have been invited to those celebrations. None of y'all would have been riding in those carriages.
That's
As a matter of fact, if you were found in this town, you would be asked what you're doing here. And it was funny because it was a group. It just happened to be. I think there was. I think we were all essentially. Well, you know what? We were all of this.
You were all of the persuasion that you had to pay entry to this tour.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to
Entry
get at.
the gentry.
I didn't want to say. I didn't want to say poor middle class or whatever.
A
but yeah.
gentry entry.
Yeah, sign me up. I grew up in a trailer park.
So he said, yeah, me too. So he said, no, not completely true. But I did. We started in a trailer park, and then we moved to the swamp, which was one of the best. It's funny. Everybody laughed at my
Grew
dad.
up in a
Other
trailer.
than the Gators.
I live in a trailer right now.
Everybody laughed at my father when he bought 7 acres in the swamp. But doggone it, he's still got some of the coolest land around in Florida because you can't. It's a wetland. Like now, literally, it's a wetland. So the place that they
And by 2012, it's going to be underwater.
And the second
That's
house
right.
he built didn't fall over, burn down, and sink into the swamp.
and that's the
When the
coolest
wolf
part
blew.
was the
Monty
trailer.
Python reference.
The trailer that we first had, they moved, and he took that trailer and he literally built it into a house, like bit by bit, built
yeah.
it, and then into a house. So it's a house now. So when you look at the property deed, it actually says house because he built it. Him and my mom built it
Oh,
by
really?
hand. Oh yeah, yeah.
So
'cause
like I know a lot of people that will build out a single wide like that so
You
that they
can't
can
sell
continue to
those?
claim it on taxes as a single wide.
Right.
Now,
But
he-
you're like, man,
you
you're
can't
in like
sell
a
that as a house.
3,000 square foot abode, and
I'm not gonna say that he didn't go figure. He didn't ask if he could still keep the trailer, the tongue attached to it, because it's got to have a tongue and it's got to have the axle to be considered a trailer.
It's
and
a
he
$1.5
did.
million house with the
he-
tongue stuck
he
to
did
it and
go
wheels
ask.
glued to the side.
He did go ask because it was funny watching him trying to make the decision because it was like resale value or taxes. It was pretty good. But anyway, no, it's a beautiful house, and he built it. Him and my mom built it by hand. It was pretty amazing. So anyway, but I'm very proud of them, by the way. But anyway, so we're walking. He literally stops and turns around. And he's having this conversation with us. He's like, none of y'all would have been here. And he says, because none of y'all are the gentry. And I can tell because you're here thinking about how fancy these houses are and not living in them.
Yep.
And that's how we started the conversation. And he started walking
yeah,
through.
if you're not walking through there going, man, these people really roughed it back then,
That's right.
you're probably not the gentry.
That's right.
Yeah.
And as we started walking through the different the slave quarters and started walking through the house and stuff like that, he built I would encourage, like, I want to go back to Jamestown, and if I could ever remember his name, I know we've got a picture of him or something, or maybe a videotape of him talking. The man was wonderful of painting the picture of it was us, and he included himself as part of the us versus them. And what was nice about it is he said us, and you know what? He was black, and there's a bunch of white folks there, but it was an us because we are an us. Like when you look at it, we are an us. Like we're all of us together. The folks that you know, the folks that you go to school with or go to work
The majority.
with. We are
the
us.
majority.
Yeah, we are.
Well-
and then there's the gentry, which are not us, which are the people that lived in those big fancy houses and go to the ball and stuff, while they're sitting in their gigantic houses, right? And they're becoming senators and all this kind of stuff. Like we learned about a congressman of New York who, through political connections, was a general in the Union Army. How does that happen? And he anyway. How does that happen?
No
And
military credentials whatsoever.
No.
Just station in
and then
life.
and then he goes back
Mhm.
to being a congressman, and then he's the one that eventually it was pretty funny. He's the one that actually signed the bill or wrote the bill to make Gettysburg like a national monument. And somebody said, "Well, where's your national landmark and national treasure or whatever? I guess what do they call it? Forest Park Service. Doggone it."
I'm just
going to
leave
let you
out
sit
there by
here.
yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, that's
So
one of my
good.
favorite things to do here.
And they
Funnest
asked him the
things.
question. They said, "Well, where's your
That
monument?"
thing,
When
you
they
know.
started figuring out all the monuments, where's your monument? And he says, "Well, the whole darn,
I think it's
thing is
considered
my
a
monument."
national battlefield monument.
There you go. So anyway, like, how does that happen? Part of the gentry, right? Like that's the thing. And like one of our favorite shows, Outlander, right? Like I love Outlander. And one of the things is when spoilers, I'm sorry, the book that's been out for like years now.
I've never seen it. You're going to ruin this for me.
It's really good. But when they come
Han Solo dies.
to North Carolina
Thanks, Kelly.
and they start dealing with
Oh yeah, that
when
was
they
an interesting portion.
it's a neat twist because it's all historical. When they start dealing with not only the slavery part of it, which was very interesting, because there's a socio-political climate of because
Not
one
just
of my
that, economic.
one
There
of my
was-
daughters asked the question. They said, "Why wouldn't you just buy slaves and let them free?" Because then the rest of the town would come around and they would hang you by federal law. Like federal law, if you like, why didn't Washington just free his slaves? Right?
You had to not only pay the slaves, you had to pay the state for the right to release them, and all the other trappings that went along with it. They went out of their way to make it impossible for a landowner who had slaves to not have slaves.
That's right. In to keep slaves as slaves, and who did it? The slave owners for sure.
Yeah.
But it was also the government that did it as well. The government was the ones that
Oh yeah,
helped
I'm not
keep that.
trying to whitewash it and say that any of the slave owners were.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Good
not-
people.
No, they were all terrible folks.
So have you seen Hamilton yet? I know
Yes.
you guys made fun of me
I have.
relentlessly.
No.
for watching it.
You know what I got? Oh gosh.
I had a cousin who wanted to watch it really bad, and
Right.
so we got together and we watched it.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Yeah, it's
I
fantastic.
still think Hamilton was a dog and not a hero at all, but I think it goes
nonetheless though.
it goes to great lengths to not paint him as completely infallible either.
Right, and there's a line in there at the beginning. One of the early songs is, "I wish there was a war that we could prove we were worth more than what we are." I don't remember the exact line. I should know that exactly.
Because
But
you've watched it like 78 times, right?
I have. So my 9-year-old loves it. We
No.
have literally watched it probably 78 times.
Brainwashing convincing.
But you haven't seen it yet, so you don't even know.
I got to watch a couple of the Hamilton actors
Yeah, that
on
doesn't
a
help.
Logitech. No, on a Logitech live
a
stream.
couple of the Hamilton actors.
I'm serious. It was like the special Logitech thing during December. I got invited to it, and they sent me this really cool Yeti cup that I don't have here today. Actually, or I'd show it to you. You guys see it on all the other ones anyway. And it was cool because I was excited because I thought we were gonna get a cool sales pitch of all the new Logitech stuff that was coming out. And these Hamilton actors come on, and all they do is sing Hamilton songs that has nothing to do with anything that they're talking
And you're
about.
sitting there like,
Over Zoom, one of them was in a horrible, had a horrible connection. The other one was funny because his microphone kept cutting out. His Logitech microphone kept cutting out.
That worked out
So
well.
we couldn't get it off mute. And of course, we stared at him for 15 minutes. Good for them for making money, right? Good for them for finding a way to make money during the COVIDs and stuff. But
these
anyway.
unprecedented times.
But to your point, no, I haven't seen Hamilton.
So in one of the songs,
Zero interest, by the way.
we're
Not
gonna
even
watch
a
it
single
together.
interest.
Okay, we're gonna watch it together then.
If you rub my feet the entire time
Dude,
while we watch
can
it.
we?
I mean,
can-
that's how we normally.
is that
going to
be our
I'm just
first
saying,
Twitch
I want to
stream?
make sure we're good.
Oh,
That's going to be our first Twitch stream. Duane and Chris
Watch Hamilton. So the
I'll even
line
wash my
is,
feet
"I
first.
wish there was a war that we could prove that we're worth more than what we're fighting for." Something along those lines. And I think
What a horrible thing to wish for.
right, but
Well-
they're looking for the chance to progress in life, right? Because everybody is set to their class. While we didn't have a formal class system, we absolutely had a class system.
Still do.
And still do. And war allowed people to progress past their class, because in war, at the end of the day, like in everyday life, you might hire someone, right? Skinner, for those of you who aren't aware,
War acts as a great filter
right?
because the people who really need to be done away with during wartime never set foot on a battlefield. And the people who make it through and
Or their
actually are
progeny.
able to like advance their station are only allowed to by the good graces of those who have never even thought about engaging in the combat that they're the cause of in the first place.
Right, possibly. Yes, I don't
Absolutely
agree.
right.
I don't disagree with most of that.
Okay.
But Mr. Skinner hired me like 6 years ago. You're not my boss anymore. Don't smile.
I know, it's weird, right?
Okay, to be fair, you
I
were
was
never
never
my
your
boss.
boss,
You
yeah.
hired me. That's the extent of it. I worked for someone else.
It was until he got demoted.
Mr. Wilbanks, third time this
until
time.
until he got demoted. We almost got him.
But you hired me and I was technically
inept.
inept.
Yeah,
That's a good word.
that's a
Thanks
good
for
word.
that. I was technically inept.
I pushed the button.
and-
No, you.
Yeah.
No, you pushed the button.
So
I pushed the button.
it's my turn to push the button. Not your turn to push the button.
Technically castrated is probably a more appropriate term.
Technically cast. No. I never had it to get castrated.
No, he was.
I was customer service.
It was
right?
funny though.
Like,
Did
that's
you
what I
ever
was.
hear, like, as we were doing the interview, we're walking around, we're showing him the campus and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and of course Kelly brought him in, so because they knew each other prior, that good old boy network or whatever working for him. But anyway, we're walking through the campus and something was wrong, and of course Kelly had supposed to have fixed it like 6 weeks ago in true Kelly fashion.
Standard.
So we're walking through, and Duane, he looks up and he goes, "Huh, I think I can fix that." And I was like, literally in the interview, I said, "Have at it." So he walks in, gets down to the, he starts ripping stuff out of the closet. Like he leans down, he starts
You don't
ripping
need
things
this.
out.
You
he
don't
starts
need this.
like doing wires and stuff. But the point where he put one of the wires in his mouth and goes, "Grr," and pulls.
Okay, that was Chris
pulls an
Bond,
end
and
off.
that wasn't my interview.
I was like, you know what? And he actually got it working in his interview. And I was like, I looked at Kelly and I was like, first of all, why didn't you do this weeks ago? But secondly, you're hired. Like that was an easy decision.
Right.
Speaking of somebody else we need to get on here,
Oh my goodness.
Chris Bond.
We don't have. Do we have Coke?
Please do that. Can I come watch?
We don't have enough caffeinated beverage for that.
That would be so much fun. That would be so much fun.
Oh, dude, for
all
real.
$108 worth of caffeine, you still couldn't keep up with him. Have you ever met Bond?
Mr. Bond,
Mr.
check
Bond.
out
Wow.
check out
Mr.
Smiles and Wiggles on Twitter.
Smiles
Twitch.
and Wiggles.
Twitch.com.
Hey,
He's
don't
also-
Smiles
out
and-
nobody. You're outing him.
Smiles and Wiggles.
I'm trying to get him some views, man.
He's fantastic.
He
He's
is
one of the
fantastic.
coolest guys I've ever
Yeah,
I love-
absolutely.
I love
But
Bond. We actually I
you
watched his
guys-
stream several
You
times.
guys stupidly took
done.
a chance
Wow.
Yeah.
on somebody.
Chris Bond wasn't that bad.
No,
He's
me.
kind of a bad. Oh,
This guy.
Gotcha.
You guys stupidly took a chance, but
He's a
when
mad
it comes to
genius.
war, you want the best people you can get, right? Like everyday life, you can hire somebody because some random guy goes, "Hey, you should hire him." But at the end of the day, in war, you want the best you can get, and so it allowed people to rise past their station, and become. At the end of the day, I saw what you're counting now.
He
That
doesn't
doesn't
realize
count. I
how
didn't use it.
distracting that is, and it
That's-
totally throws people off their chain. And
I'm
it's
gonna
like,
start. I'm gonna start saying
It doesn't. I'm just having fun with it.
every time I come.
God
I'm gonna come
bless.
up with a.
This is for
new
all 6 of
saying.
our viewers' enjoyment. Is for me going,
Hey, I've done 6. That's one for each of them.
yeah.
And so at the end of the day, they're all gonna enjoy it. See,
I'm
Are
sorry.
we really?
What?
Did I miss
are
some?
they live now?
Oh goodness gracious!
Oh my goodness.
9?
You have 9 subscribers.
Wow, that is more than.
Did you create 7 accounts?
That is. I was gonna say that's more than the friends that I have. So
Hey,
it's definitely
after
not.
this show?
Because my mom
you're
would
gonna hit
she was
double
like, no,
digits.
I'm not
Wait,
doing
you have
it.
friends?
No.
No, not anymore. He
Why?
quit.
He said I made 7
He
accounts.
doesn't.
So
He doesn't pay. He doesn't pay his friends anymore.
Dwayne, weren't you going to tell a story?
there's 7 accounts. There's me and Otto.
No.
What about
They're
the
all
story?
subscribers.
So people
Okay, sorry.
would work to rise past their station, and you could do that in war. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's a quote from Hamilton, right, that talks about them rising past their station and having that opportunity to prove themselves. And so you talk about the Gentry and the rest of us, right? That was their chance to try and achieve a higher status is
Like,
is
man,
through war.
if you can't prove your worth through something other than violence,
But can you?
No, murdering
Who's ever
folks.
risen above their
is-
station without violence?
Murdering folks is literally the best yardstick for anything.
you need to calm down, Florida.
I'm being facetious, obviously.
No, you're not.
Meanwhile, Florida man.
Well, I mean, and that's interesting when you're talking about.
Well, what happened? What happened with
Hamilton.
dude that threw the gator into the drive-through? Is he the governor now?
Actually,
Ron
yes.
DeSantis, yes.
Yes, yeah, he is. Yeah, that man's tossed a few gators in his lifetime. I guarantee it.
Have you seen him with reporters? Oh my goodness!
Does he throw gators at
No.
reporters too?
Is he
No,
Trump
no.
worthy?
So he's like Trump, except he can maintain a constant thought. Sorry, I just lost half your viewers
Ron
because they're
DeSantis.
probably fans.
Oh,
No, so he's
Listen. If
they're
there's
still
any
hanging around by now.
Republicans listening, they probably think we're raging, bleeding heart leftists, and if there's any leftists watching, they probably think that we're, it's
good. This is promising for you guys. Then
No,
It's a
this is-
mess.
This is gonna go. This is gonna take off.
you're right. This is going to be awesome.
Oh, did you find it? Did he find the video of the
what is
gator?
this?
Watch this. Watch this.
Oh.
Okay.
There's a gator going to come in that window.
hope so.
Get ready for a copyright strike. Copyright strike in 3, 2.
I don't see a
No,
gator.
they're showing us. They're not. I don't think they're not putting it up on the thing. For what it's worth, YouTube gives you ways to blur stuff out pretty easily. So it was funny. One of the ones.
That's not a copyright strike, though. That
Oh,
wouldn't be.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, because
Really?
it's a YouTube video.
Yep.
Dude, we put up something from the friggin' what was
WWE
it, Hell in a Cell or something
from
like that from
1996.
WWE. Yeah.
I figured it was just
Or
got
7.
dunked on. I figured that's what you guys would
That's a
show.
good one too. I haven't heard no Froggy Fresh in a while.
Right. You're Florida, too.
Yeah. What is she? Oh, she's going out.
She's
the
going
window.
after the gator.
That's dangerous.
Um,
What is she doing? She's gonna break a hip.
Oh gosh.
There she goes. Oh, she's done that before.
So DeSantis with reporters, there was a reporter there last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't know when it was, and the reporter was trying to, I think, make a statement. Like, so now we're
Those
no
gotcha
longer,
questions.
Yes. So it's no longer a case of
When did
people
you stop
asking
beating your
questions.
wife? Those
Right.
things-
That's right.
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
always
they
good.
want to make a name
Never.
for themselves. He's joking. I know his wife. She can take him. So yeah, they're trying to get those gotcha questions, those moments of I'm so awesome, I put it to the man, right? Who got an Emmy for putting it to the man?
what's the statement
Whatever.
questions? We talked about that a couple podcasts
Right.
ago. It's the statement questions.
So
it's like just ask a
DeSantis-
question. Don't make a statement.
Yeah, so DeSantis totally shut this chick down. She asked her first question in her series.
Did you check her gender before you
And this,
labeled?
she seemed to be.
Yeesh.
Um,
Wow. That's
Go
a
with
good
the rest
point.
of our viewers. Nice
Where-
job.
This
Way to go, Duane.
reporter.
Thanks, pal.
How about that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Sorry for your other half. You just lost the other half. I insulted Trump and the liberal media.
Yep.
So nobody likes you
And
guys.
the LGBTQ.
It's much like the real
How long will it
world.
be?
Would it be a
Nobody
reportress?
likes you guys. Reportress. Yeah. A man and a woman. And so
And a couple other things.
and a few other things. So nonetheless, she's asking her question. She gets through the first part of it and asks a question, and he starts answering her first question while she's trying to diatribe the rest of it. And she keeps talking, and he's like, "No, you've already asked a question. You don't get multiple questions. You're now making a statement, and I'm going to answer your first question." And he like straight up blasts her.
Shush,
It was pretty
shush,
great.
shush.
or like Scotty.
Hold on.
So
Let me
Scotty,
answer this question
constantly
first.
talks over everybody. Never lets anybody get a word
So
in
question:
edgewise. That's
does
what you're talking
everybody know who Scotty is who watches this?
about. Oh yeah, they do. Well, we usually introduce everybody because we say Scotty is over here and Chloe over here. They're in the.
Well,
Oh,
Chris,
she just gave me the
Chris
cheers.
usually forgets people when
There's
he's
over in the
introducing.
tech booth,
Happens.
and they're
You
making
usually.
stuff nice.
It was probably me this time.
So Scotty.
That's right. He's
Scott-
that's his
See,
angry
like-
face. No, that's his.
Is that
don't,
his
don't
angry
tell
face?
that story
Okay,
face.
good. I'm saying it. So Scotty today.
You're at the sound booth. I'm just saying, like you literally.
Scotty, he's going to turn me off. So Scotty today is making a video.
Can we still say beep,
and
beep, beep?
and there is a woman talking on the video, and he tells her to shush. and I explained to him how horrible and misogynist that is.
Wow. Did you mansplain to
That
her why it's
he
okay that he
mansplained
does
to
that?
a video.
You mansplained to
He's
Scotty
such a-
why it's not right for him to be a
Aw.
misogynist.
Poor
right,
Scotty.
right,
You
exactly.
quit bullying that boy. He's
It was
so
bad.
nice.
It was
That's
terrible.
like a
He's a terrible person.
He's a kind-hearted
Misogyn
I don't know if you
inception.
guys have
Tender-hearted
realized it yet.
Did I just
but
coin a phrase? Misogyn inception?
What?
I'm pretty sure that's something different that we can't talk about on air. Nonetheless, Scotty's a horrible person, is what I'm saying. That being said, he's the best horrible person I know, or one of them at least. So
He's definitely a person.
So rising above your station is important, and I think as we
It really?
look back at that, I think it is. I think we all strive to do that because we want to
some
give.
ways, but I'm pretty content not being
I was just
a
going to
Gentry.
say that
We
a lot
want
of
to
the
give our
people,
kids listen. We started it. I know where you live now. Do you live in a trailer still?
No,
Why do you not live in a trailer currently?
because we killed the people that lived in my house and we buried the bodies outside back, and
Exactly.
now we own it.
So you took what you had to do
The
to
Burbs?
rise above your
Yeah.
station.
Did
Yeah.
you see The Burbs? The old Tom Hanks movie?
Yeah, it was a
That
great
was
movie.
Tom Hanks.
I was
wasn't it?
thinking,
Was that Coneheads?
No, The Burbs.
No, I was kidding.
That was a good one.
what was the gypsy show that was on FX a while back?
Whoa! You can't go around saying
They were-
gypsy show.
They said that's what they were. They said they were. They said they were gypsies. They self-identified as gypsies.
You're just giving yourself more work here, Chris.
So, God darn
So
it.
nonetheless, you've strived to rise above your station, right?
Yeah.
That's how we do it now. Is we work harder, or
I
that's
have
how
strove
half
to
the population.
provide for my family better, but I do not necessarily care about rising above my station.
But that's what it is, right? You want to provide a better life for your children than you had growing up.
No, I see what he's talking about here, though, because the station is being allowed to do certain things that you're not allowed to do otherwise. Like,
I disagree. I think it's just bettering yourself.
well, I completely disagree with you. Then,
Well, all right then. We'll disagree together.
I don't know what station
right.
is.
We'll
I want you
agree to
define-
disagree.
I want you
Ready,
to define
fight.
station.
I don't feel like it, and I've had.
I'm not Blue Lives Matter, and he's not Antifa. We're fine. We're just
yeah,
having
we
a
are.
conversation.
Wait, that's
we don't
a
have
big
to,
assumption of
we
you.
don't
Wait,
have to
wait.
actually.
You guys can actually disagree about
Wait,
a
wait.
point
You're
and not-
saying
you don't hate each other now?
no? He just said he's not Antifa. That means he's pro-fascist. You Nazi.
Oh.
right.
Yeah, it's not enough to be against fascism. You have to be actively anti-fascism.
That's right. Nazi.
You got to be fascistly against fascism.
I am fast against fascism.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, that should be an organization.
Fast against fascists. Is that like
Fa-fa.
is that like a weight loss organization? Your first
Fa-fa.
Fast
Do
for
you have,
fascism.
do you have like
Wait,
points on cards for that? Like
You get
fascist
so many
watchers? Can we do it?
fascists.
Fascist watchers. I'm shedding the fascists.
Scotty, now's your chance.
So-
You ready?
Wait,
Speak-
does he have a thing?
Yeah, yeah.
What's his thing?
Why are we so focused?
Is he about to tell us we're supposed to be done?
Well, you're in trouble because you told the story he didn't want you to. Now he's gonna throw you out. Oh gosh. Hold on.
Speak
I'm waiting.
German to me,
I'm waiting.
Scotty.
Here we go. Go.
9.
10. So rising above your station, I think, is important, and I think we all strive towards that. And war is the way to do that. So people look for the opportunity, or maybe that was more of a back in the day thing, right? Like people. Let's be honest. People in war today don't rise above their station because they're just thrown to like fodder, like
It
cannon
was
fodder.
a way
They're thrown into a graveyard or the VA system.
Right.
And
Well,
I don't even
or
want
to-
to get on that topic.
Or
thank you for your
5%
service,
of
by
them.
the way.
Yeah.
Wait, he served?
Yeah. Mashed
Did
potatoes
he
and-
serve well? Did he serve well is the question.
Well,
Have you ever been to Panama?
Some people thought so. I've never been to Panama.
I'm glad you can say that with a straight
No,
face.
it's back in the day because you had, you know what, they were more blatant about it back in the day because they could be.
Right.
They're a lot less blatant about it now. There are absolutely stations. There are absolutely divides between the classes, right? They call them the classes. So there's
Sure.
absolutely a divide between all the classes. They were just a little more on the nose about it back in the day because the king said they could be, right?
Yeah. Oh,
now
you,
the king says shh about it, like you're not
Mhm.
supposed to talk about it as much. So they're absolutely our stations.
so you look at a more modern day example that just got out of that is India, right? They still practice like closet class system, even though it's quote unquote been abolished.
No,
It's not even in the closet there. Mohit. Can I say other random people's names?
just don't not his last
A
name.
mutual friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to avoid last names.
So a mutual friend. I tried to avoid him earlier, but I failed miserably.
Sure, you did, Mr. Herman.
So mutual friend, right? That we all know and love. He's a fantastic dude.
Yeah.
He and I had another person that would be great for you guys to have on. And it's not even hidden. Like it's a real thing. Like he and his wife were set up together. There was a little more choice than normal, but based out of their class.
Arranged marriage from within their class.
From within their class. Now, is the class? I don't know. I'm probably going to say. Hold on. You know what? Let me Google this before.
And in the
I'm sorry.
class system,
Let me
there is
DuckDuckGo this.
horribly racist as far as it's like
Whatever.
who if you have lighter skin, you're likely to be accepted into this higher class. That is such a. It's
That's literally what I was. That's literally what I was going to search on before I said anything. But yeah, because
that's totally.
my
a thing.
understanding
That's
of it
totally
is.
a thing.
That's why you're in a lower class.
The 4
Most
class
likely.
systems in
Because
Indian
your red
texts
hair and your
are
pale
the
white
Brahmins,
skin.
the priestly.
Because I have no
I'm
soul.
not even going to keep this up because I
True.
can't pronounce any of this stuff. What is
Yeah.
India? Ooh, BBC.
So at the end of the day, there are two
Brahmins,
existing classes.
Kshatriyas.
When all is said and
Vaishyas,
done,
Shudras, and
Ooh,
Dalits.
there you go.
when all is said and done,
the end of the
there are
day.
2 classes, and there's probably more than that. But
No, there's two. There's literally 2 classes.
Yeah, the gentry,
And
to
the
steal
rest
your
of
word,
us.
and us.
Yeah.
And so you have all of us versus Scotty, essentially, Mr. Gentry over here, and and at the end of the day, you need to protect
at his
yourself with
face right
ExpressVPN because the Gentry is after you.
Are you ever going to finish the story?
That's it.
Oh, okay.
No, that was it.
So this whole thing was just a plug for ExpressVPN.
yeah. They paid me a lot to come on your show.
I bet they did. I bet
And-
they're not going to pay you again.
Listen, I have I have 8 years of free ExpressVPN because of this. No, really though, it's important to be safe because anything you say can and will be used against you
At the end of the day.
at the end of the day. Yeah, or middle of the day if they catch you early enough. If you run really fast, it's usually the end of the day because then you get tired and you lay down, and then they find you while you're sleeping with a no-knock warrant.
Chasing those.
Kill your dog.
And
Throw
kill your
some
dog.
flashbangs in your baby's crib.
Chasing those custard and cream eclairs.
So good,
Yeah, man.
so good.
All right, we're done.
Oh.
Do the thing. Do the thing with the recording.
Am I
Make it-
doing
make
the?
it
Am I
stop.
doing the? Well, no,
Don't
we
do it.
should
Bye.
outro.
How about that?
We should outro. Thank you guys for having me on.
Thanks,
being
ExpressVPN.
here. ExpressVPN,
Raid Shadowlands Legends.
Raid Shadowlands
A
Legends.
vast antivirus. Malware bytes.
Don't
I
forget Anchor.
remember malware bytes. Is this
Anchor and
still a
their
thing?
CEO, Mr.
Anchor?
Yang. Yeah.
Yeah, Anchor.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, Anchor.
All your
Big shout out
sponsors.
to Anchor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Clean power.
Go
I-
read that
listen,
Ted's Cabin page.
I promise to bring New Holland Dragon's milk again if I come back on your show.
which is literal milk. It's actual milk.
Oh man, it's the milk of the New Holland Dragon,
See, that's it.
and it's
Just that. Bye-bye.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't eat this because I don't have.
Bye,
any more.
everybody.
Do it, girl. Do it,
Really
You guys have a
appreciate
great
it.
day.